Well, I'm halfway through this video. Um, it hits my heart. It's sad. It's sad. I think I'm just gonna cover the one that's about the news reporters because um I have some relatable experience in this. I think I've gone far. The first story is about a wrestler who fell. He was trying to do a dramatic entrance with a cable, and it, it there was some sort of malfunction, and so he ended up falling and dying from his injuries.
Then changed to the Blue Blazer. The Blue Blazer was a superhero gimmick that would defeat other wrestlers such as Terry Gibbs, Steve Lombardi, and Barry Horowitz. Owen would begin to debut in pay-per-view entertainment such as the Survivor Series 88 that aired on November 24th of 88, Saturday Night's Main Event 20 that aired on March 11th of 89, and Mary Martha, who he had met during an event with Stampede Wrestling. Martha had recognized Owen as a wrestler from their high school, and they just hit it off. After the WrestleMania 5 event, Owen left the WWF to return to Stampede until it was shut down in December of 1989. After it was shut down, Owen went back to the NJWP, and in 1990 worked with Catch Wrestling Association in Germany. In March of 91, Owen would debut in the World Championship Wrestling. He also left the Blue Blazer in 1991 after losing a match against Al Kanek in Mascara Contra Mascara match, and then signed to the WWF for a second time. Between January and November of 1992, Owen Hart would debut in pay-per-view series Royal Rumble, WrestleMania 8, and the Survivor Series. After the Survivor Series, Owen's brother Brett left the WWF, leaving Owen as the last Hart in that federation. Owen continued to entertain until his final scheduled match on May 23rd of 1999. This match was the second annual and final Over the Edge pay-per-view event, which was held at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. Of the first 6 scheduled matches, Owen Hart was the third event, and was supposed to wrestle against the Godfather for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. For the Over the Edge series, Owen had to revive the Blue Blazer and was going to make a superhero-like entrance into the ring. This brought Owen 78 feet above the ring, where he was attached to a harness and brought to the arena rafters. Before 7:39 p.m. Central Standard Time, the televised event was airing a pre-recorded promo followed by an interview around 7:39 p.m. Owen Hart was released prematurely from a cable that disengaged from the safety vest he wore and fell 78 feet, hitting his chest on the top rope. The fall was only seen by those in the arena, but for a short period after his fall, the cameras had switched to the ring where Owen's body was laying, but quickly panned to the audience due to it being aired live. Broadcaster Jerry Lawler immediately ran to the ring to check on Owen, and when he returned to announcing, he was shaken up and said, "It doesn't look good at all." EMTs rushed to the ring and gave Owen CPR, but had no response and took him to the Truman Medical Center in Kansas City, Missouri, where he arrived at 7:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. When Owen arrived, he was not technically dead due to having a neurological function of 315 on the Glasgow Coma Scale, which happens to be the lowest possible score, and it means imminent death if it hasn't occurred already. The cardiac monitor on Owen indicated astole, meaning no detectable heartbeat activity at all, but there were signs of electrical activity. It was noted that a nurse noticed Owen's skin turning blue, his lips were colorless, and his skin was cold. There were no sounds in his bowels and his abdomen was soft. Owen also had suffered an open fracture to his left elbow. At 8:07 Central Standard Time, A final dose of epinephrine and atropine were administered, but had no response. Then CPR was performed until 8:12 p.m., when Owen Hart was then pronounced dead at the age of 34, leaving behind a wife and 2 children. 24 wrestlers and former wrestlers were there at the hospital's support of Owen Hart and his family. Over the Edge had only stopped for 15 minutes after Owen's fall, then continued with the 4th match scheduled under Vince McMahon's orders. During the rest of the events, Owen's blood can still be seen on the ring. An hour after the show started back up, Jim Ross announced to television viewers only, "Here at Kansas City, tragedy befell the World Wrestling Federation and all of us. Owen Hart was set to make an entrance from the ceiling, and he fell from the ceiling. And I have the unfortunate responsibility to let everyone know that Owen Hart has died. Owen Hart has tragically died from that accident here tonight." The live audience, however, was not informed of Owen Hart's death. If you would like to learn more about Owen Hart, his wife Martha Hart wrote a book called Broken Hearts, The Life and Death of Owen Hart, where she tells stories of their lives together and his rise to fame in the World Wrestling Federation. Owen Hart's death is often surrounded by conspiracy and mystery as to how it happened as well, as he set a name for himself in wrestling. However, perhaps it's for the best to let the man rest without conspiracy, and just accept that maybe this was a tragic accident.
Okay, so this next story, I actually saw it a few days ago already, but it's come up in this one as well. And the thing is, when I was working at Idemia, and this is one of the reasons I really don't understand why I got targeted for layoff during the pandemic, because my boss, who apparently was very threatened by me and wanted to make sure that I was going to get laid off at some point, we had a person on the team who she hired. She chose this person to work on the team, and he claimed that he had some sort of anger management issue that was a disability. It was a disability, right? So every so often he would have complete meltdowns, start yelling swear words in the middle of the office, and then say that he blacked out and he didn't remember it happening. He didn't remember it happening. So at some point I went to HR and I said, you know what, I'm scared this guy's gonna shoot up the office at some point, because he's very volatile, he's very angry, he's yelling fuck at his desk. He's the newest member to the team, so like he's learning his job, right? And my boss seems to be perfectly cool with this. She's perfectly cool with this dude, but she's riding my ass. I'm trying to understand why we have this dangerous person sitting in the cube right next to me. Why is this happening? He ultimately, I don't think he ever got terminated, by the way. I think what ultimately happened is he said he needed to leave for a medical leave. So he basically got workers' comp on this bullshit.
Here in Kansas City, tragedy befell the World Wrestling Federation and all of us. Owen Hart was set to make an entrance from the ceiling, and he fell from the ceiling. And I have the unfortunate responsibility to let everyone know that Owen Hart has died. Owen Hart has tragically died from an accident here tonight.
We are are following breaking news out of Virginia this morning. A TV news reporter and photographer are deliberately gunned down and killed while live on the air this morning.
Allison Parker and Adam Ward were both CBS employees that worked for affiliated station WDBJ in Roanoke, Virginia. Allison Bailey Parker, who was born August 19, 1991, grew up in Martinsville, Virginia, and interned at WDBJ in 2012 until she was hired in 2014. Adam Lane Ward was born May 10th of 1988 in Daleville, Virginia, and grew up in Salem. Adam was hired at WDBJ in July of 2011 and worked as a videographer and occasional sports reader.
This is an incredibly disturbing story because dude was trying to make it out. The killer was trying to make it out like he was facing racism in the workplace and sexism in the workplace. Also, I mean, I don't think they cover it in this particular story, but the other one I watched, I think also talked about his sexual orientation as well. And the reality is he was unhinged and he was disturbing his workmates.
On August 26th of 2015, Allison and Adam were interviewing Vicki Gardner at the Manitas Bridgewater Plaza for a live segment of Mornin'. Vicki Gardner was the executive director of the local Chamber of Commerce, and the interview was about the 50th anniversary of the Smith Mountain Lake. In the middle of the interview, at 6:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the live segment captured 8 gunshots followed by screams. Adam's camera had fallen to the ground and captured a glimpse of Vester Flanagan holding a Glock 19 9mm pistol before the camera was shut off. During the live airing, they had switched to Kimberly McBroom at the news station, who was visibly confused and said that it could have been a car backfiring or shots fired in the background. What they didn't know, that there was a total of 15 shots fired. With those shots, Allison Parker was shot in the head and chest, and Adam Ward was shot in the head and torso, killing them both at the scene of the crime. Vicki Gardner was shot in the back after she had curled into the fetal position to play dead. Vicki was...
Yeah, seriously, station crew, like, you can't see that something terrible has happened in the field and alert, you know, the staff around you to call 911 for them? For real? You're like, oh no, it must have been cars backfiring.
Taken to the Caroline Roanoke Memorial Hospital to treat the injury. It did survive the fatal attack. While reviewing the footage at the news station, the staff had identified the shooter as 41-year-old Vester Lee Flanagan II, who was a former employee of the WDBJ. The staff then informed the general manager, Jeffrey Marks, who then relayed the information to the Franklin County Sheriff in Virginia. At 8:26 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Vester had faxed ABC News with a 23-page letter titled Suicide Note for Friends and Family. In this letter, Vester wrote allegations of discrimination directed towards him from other coworkers, which included sexual harassment. Vester also stated in the letter that the Charleston church shooting, which happened 2 months prior, was a tipping point for him. Vester also talked about the details of the 9/11 attack and glorified those responsible for the Columbine and Virginia Tech shootings. In his note, he also stated that he killed both of his cats in a fit of rage after being fired from the WDBJ.
Wow. He even killed his cats. But for those of you who don't know, Virginia Tech is actually in Roanoke. So that would have been the Virginia Tech shooting happened, I think, in either 2008 or 2009. Because I was living in Virginia when it happened. And it rocked the entire state. Like, it was horrible. Obviously, everybody was freaked out, and we were afraid there was going to be copycat incidents at the other colleges like VCU and the one that has the one that's over by Charlottesville that has like the spider mascot. I guess Pumpkin wants to come out.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Vester called ABC News with a confession. And then at 11:14, Vester uploaded a 56-second video to his Twitter and Facebook accounts. This video was taken from his perspective of the crime he committed. In the video, Vester walks up to the interview taking place at Bonita Bridgewater Plaza with a pistol in his hand. He then went unnoticed for 15 seconds before he said bitch and pointed the gun at Allison. Vester then lowers the gun for a moment before raising it back up and opens fire in Allison's direction. Allison flinched while screaming and trying to escape. The lights attached to Adam's camera falls to the ground and Vester pulls the camera away and shuts everything off. Using Vester's cell phone, he was able to be tracked, and it was discovered that he abandoned his Ford Mustang at Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport and rented a Chevrolet Sonic. After renting the vehicle, Vester went north on Highway 181, then east on Highway I-66. At 11:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a Virginia State Trooper identified that vehicle that Vester was driving and called for backup. 2 miles after the pursuit took place, the vehicle Vester was driving ran off the side of the road and struck an embankment near Markham. At the time, authorities were unaware that Vester had attempted to take his life while driving, which is why the car went off-road. Vester Flanagan was airlifted to Inova Fairfax Hospital in Falls Church, where he was declared dead at 1:26 p.m. Inside the vehicle, they found several magazines and ammunition, a cell phone, letters, a note, a to-do list, and suitcase with 3 license plates and several disguises. Prior to the day of the shooting, Vester was seen on Facebook and Twitter, calling out the news station he was fired from for racial discrimination. This included statements like Allison saying coded racist remarks towards his friend during her internship, and about all the complaints he thought Adam filed against him, despite Adam only working with him once. Vester was fired from WDBJ on February 1st, 2013 for volatile behavior after lashing out at a staff member. Vester had to be removed from the building with police and for several days after the building was watched in case Vester were to return. Vester was initially hired by the WDBJ on April 19, 2012, as a multimedia journalist under the name Bryce Williams. By July of 2012, there were already multiple complaints about Vester and his behavior, which made others feel unsafe and threatened by him. Vester has a history of being fired for odd behavior at other affiliated stations and even filed a civil lawsuit with claims of racial discrimination and won. After being fired from the WDBJ, Vester did file a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission with allegations of racial discrimination, but it was dismissed. During investigations, they had spoke with a female employee who worked with Vester at the United Health Group call center, which was Vester's final job. She spoke of a time where he responded to her aggressive when she pointed out that Vester was being quiet. When interviewing neighbors in Vester's apartment complex, it is said that he was arrogant and rude to everyone. Vester acted vile towards those he was mad at by throwing cat feces at their homes. With everything, this shows that Vester Flanagan was not a good person to anyone who knew him, and it was unfortunate that he took his rage out in such a horrible way. With what Vester did, he took 2 innocent people's lives, as well as uploading multiple angles of a double homicide to social media.
Yeah, seriously, like, I still don't understand why my former boss was uplifting a dude who said that he was blacking out and having anger episodes. I just, like, that was such an unsafe situation for everyone. And he apparently was bullying her too. And she was totally down with this because she's a misogynistic, patriarchal bitch, right?
Shooting happened live on air at 6:45 this morning. This is the broadcast right up to the point of the shooting. The victims worked for WDBJ, the CBS affiliate in Roanoke. A station tweet shortly after the shooting read, "We love you, Allison and Adam." Authorities believe they know who the gunman is and are in pursuit. According to Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, the gunman is believed to be a disgruntled employee of the station. Video shot by the photographer as the camera fell appears to show the suspect. Back at the station, employees are shocked and saddened as they try to cope with the tragedy.
They were special people, and, as Leo had said, they would brighten up a room every morning.
I cannot tell you how much they were loved, Allison and Adam, by the WDBJ-7 team.
Outpouring of grief for the victims is being expressed across the state and country as investigators.
Okay. We'll stop there because I haven't watched the next two stories. But I just wanted to cover that one because I've personally experienced what it's like to work next to somebody who could have potentially shot up the office. And I think most of us were scared he was going to do it every single day.